guys, Logan here, and welcome back to my Steven Spielberg series. I'm going to be covering a select few of films that he had directed leading up to Ready Player One coming out of March 30th, I believe. And I already covered Jaws, Saving Private Ryan, and Minority Report, and I'm going to be talking about another Tom Cruise movie besides Minority Report, which is War of the Worlds, which also stars Dakota Fanning and Chatwin and others. A dock worker by the name of Ray, played by Tom Cruise, struggles to build a positive relationship with his two children, Rachel and Robbie, when his ex-wife, Marianne, drops them off at Ferrier's house. It seems as though it will be just another tension-filled weekend. However, when electromagnetic pulses of lightning strike the area, the strange event turns out to be the beginning of an alien invasion, and Ferrier must now protect his children as they seek refuge. It was an okay movie. It's an easily watchable film. Is it a really good film? It depends on how you look at this movie. There's like a whole thing on the internet. You either love the movie or you hate it. And for me, I was sort of in the middle. There are things about this movie that I liked and other things about this movie I didn't like. So let's start off with things that I do like. Tom Cruise. He made a serviceable performance in this movie. A very serviceable in a way that was actually not very bad at all. He plays a father who has to take care of both of his children right after he and his ex got divorced. His pregnant ex got divorced. And the way that this movie carries out the whole, story revolving around the relationship between Ray, Tom Cruise, and two of his children, and that I think is very great. I thought the movie, to a certain extent, did that somewhat well. Dakota Fanning, I thought, did a pretty solid job in this movie as the daughter of Ray, Tom Cruise. Let's talk about Chatwin. When it comes to Chatwin in this movie, he makes Toby Kebbell, not a good actor at all, look like Liam Neeson. A great actor. Because Chatwin played one of the worst written characters I have ever seen in any film. Period. I just didn't find any redeeming quality about him. There wasn't like a single moment that I could find about his character in this movie that made me feel sympathy for him. Because every decision that he makes and probably almost every line that he delivered was very cringeworthy and didn't really make any sense. Now, some of you might find something in this film that made you feel a little bit sympathetic with his character, but for me, I didn't find it. So, Justin Chatwin, worst performance from him I have ever seen. Probably even worse than Toby Kebbell in my opinion, even though I've seen more often of Toby Kebbell than I have with Justin Chatwin. Because I didn't find Toby Kebbell to be a very good actor. I didn't like every role he has played except Koba in Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. So anyway, moving on. I would say the first act, probably the first 15 minutes of the film, kind of got a little bit slow for me. This movie was trying to, give you like the whole, develop a character development with Tom Cruise's character and two of his children and all that stuff. And you get that, but the movie didn't really handle that in a way that should have been quicker. This movie could have, the scenes with Tom Cruise and two of his children could have been a little bit shorter. It lasted for about, maybe 10 minutes or so, and it could have been shorter than that, a little bit. The cinematography looks very clean, and the color scheme of it looked pretty clean as well. And that's pretty much in a good way, I will say. And the sequences, or action sequences, I forgot to bring up. Most of them, especially in the first act and the second act in particular, they were very impressive. I find myself pretty invested in every single action scene in the first act and the second act. The third act, There wasn't too much, but at the same time, the action scenes in the third act kind of got a little bit muddled, especially the third act. And that pretty much leads me to my biggest issue with this film. The third act kind of got messy for me, and kind of got convoluted at the same time. Like, it was a messy and convoluted, don't make any sense type of third act in a movie. That there were like many few things that aren't very clear, especially the motivations for one of the characters that you might see joining with Tom Cruise and his family and all that stuff, and a few desires and a few lines of dialogue delivered that pretty much didn't make any sense. And as well as the ending of the movie, and the way that this movie ended kind of felt anticlimactic to me. We see the way that Justin Chatwin's character come out of the house and gets to hug Tom Cruise. If you hadn't recalled, he went into the battlefield with the soldiers just to see the whole, battlefield without any training or weaponry whatsoever, just wants to see it with his own eyes and all that stuff, and he has never been seen again in this movie until the ending. And that got a little bit rushed for me and kind of got me like, what? Like, how did this came up about? Just an amount of things that don't make any sense, and got a little bit confusing and muddled and all that other stuff. But beyond the negatives that I have with this movie, the third act kind of got messy and convoluted, as well as the pacing issues in the first act specifically. I must admit, this is a very watchable movie. It's more watchable than I thought it was going to be back when it was released in theaters. You can easily watch this movie and just sit there and watch it without even rolling your eyes, and just be like, this movie was fine. It's not a movie that I can really see myself watching again, but I can watch it for every once in a while and all that stuff. That's pretty much the type of movie that you're going to get with War of the Worlds. I'm going to give War of the Worlds a Silver Medal of Honor. That is my review for A War of the Worlds, starring Tom Cruise and directed, of course, by Steven Spielberg. My next review in my Steven Spielberg series of reviews is going to be for The Adventure of Tintin, an animated movie that Steven Spielberg has directed. It will be up next week from today, so be on the lookout for that. If you guys enjoyed my review, please click the like button and comment down below to let me know what you think of War of the Worlds. And if you enjoy what you've seen here and you want to see future videos from me, please click the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so that you never miss a video. Have a great week, Battle Squad, and as always, fight the good fight. Peace!